Hey everybody, I'm Mike Marza with your daily update on the New York City mayor race. Will Mayor Adams even stay in the race? That is the big question circulating and swirling around both City Hall and the halls of the White House. And before we hear from the mayor himself, President Trump reiterated his stance that one candidate should be facing off against the Democratic frontrunner and nominee Zohran Mamdani.
If you have more than one candidate running against him, it can't be one. If you have one candidate, if he's the right candidate, I would say that Cuomo might have a chance of winning if it was a one-on-one. If it's not one-on-one, it's going to be a hard race.
We know the president's advisors have been considering giving Adams a job in the administration if he ended his re-election bid. And today we learned that the talks have centered around a post as ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Governor Hochul weighing in this morning.
Contrary to what the president thinks, he's not a king. He's not a kingmaker. And he should be not anointing the next mayor of New York City. That is the right of New Yorkers to determine.
As for the mayor himself,
there has been so much speculation, communications, announcements of what I'm doing, no matter what I have stated over and over again publicly. So I want to be clear with you. Andrew Cuomo is a snake and a liar. I am in this race, and I'm the only one that can beat Mamdani.
Mayor still in the race, at least for now. Today I spoke with one candidate, though, who already dropped out, independent Jim Walden. Here's some of that conversation and his take on this truly unique race. Why did you decide to drop out now?
It's really a matter of the math and principle. I mean, at the end of the day, I had to have a tough conversation with myself about what was my highest priority. And I've been saying since July that Zohran Mamdani is an existential threat to New York City and that he should not be elected to City Hall. And at the end of the day, I looked hard at the math. I tried to get the candidates to come together on a massive mega poll to try to sort out who would be the best person to defeat him. And ultimately, when I looked hard at the math, I realized that it's a simple truth. In a split race, Mamdani wins. Period. He's going to get between 550 and 650,000 votes in the general election. And so if there are 2 or 3 candidates running against him, Mamdani's going to win. But in a one-on-one race, Mamdani's likely going to lose. So, I mean, obviously a lot remains to be seen, but at that point I had to say to myself, principle matters more than my own political ambitions, and I decided to step aside and hope that other candidates would do the same.
We've seen some polling throughout this race. Why did you decide now? Because the math, you talked about the math was not favorable earlier. Was there a trigger point at this particular junction that made you decide this was the time?
Well, it was a couple of things. First of all, I had about $1 million left in my campaign account, and I just couldn't justify to myself spending that money to surge only to take votes away from people that were polling higher than me. And number 2, I knew that when I took this step, it was going to take a beat for the other candidates to really have this conversation. Obviously, at that point, I didn't know that President Trump was going to weigh in. But I think people should reflect really seriously on the fact that we now have people on the extreme right and the extreme left all saying the same thing, which is this needs to be a one-on-one race. Even people, my friends who I view as being very far on the left, don't want socialism, don't want anti-Semitism, don't want an anti-cop mayor. And there's so many people that are now coming together and mobilizing that I find that it's a relief, frankly.
When you talk about Zohran Mamdani and people now reviewing his record, but you're in this unique situation where right now you're aligned with President Trump in the sense of you both consider Mamdani an existential threat to the city. Are you prepared that if these reports are true and that President Trump weighs in to the point where he removes candidates to make it a one-on-one with Mamdani, which is what you're calling for, sort of do the means justify the end in your mind?
Listen, I certainly did not think in any world that I would line with Donald Trump on something. I mean, I've been very, very critical of President Trump for many years. But at the end of the day, he can't remove someone from a ballot. He's a federal official. This is a city election. He doesn't have that power no matter what he thinks. I don't know what he's talking about when he's saying that he's going to resort to some sort of means. I don't know what to take from that. What I do know is that I appreciate that he understands that a socialist, anti-cop, anti-Semitic agenda for New York City is the wrong prescription. The fact that someone like me, who's been so incredibly critical of the president, can agree with him on this, to me, I think that speaks well of some continuing vitality in our public civic discourse, that people can agree where they can agree. And many people, including an independent like me, a very right-wing person like President Trump, and people on the left can agree that Zoran Mamdani, no matter how flowery his language, no matter how aspiring he is to young voters, is not right for New York City.
It does seem like in the Mamdani camp, they are concerned at the possibility of facing off with one other person, at least with the idea that President Trump may offer some sort of position, an ambassadorship or something like that, which is being reported to Mayor Adams. What do you make of that, of a sitting president essentially creating a world where you're removing, you talked about not removing a candidate, but if he removes himself by taking this ambassadorship, what do you make of the president influencing what happens in New York?
Well, the truth of the matter is this kind of gamesmanship happens all the time. I mean, there are a lot of times that contenders who are challenging an incumbent get offered something in order to get out of a race. So when people are screaming with their hair on fire that this is somehow hugely inappropriate, it's different because you have a federal official, the president, trying to influence a local race, but through a means that is not illegal. I mean, he can offer Adams, and Adams can say yes or no. But at the end of the day, I wish the president would stay out of this, to tell you the truth, because I don't think it helps anyone. I think it tarnishes whoever, if it turns out to be Cuomo who's the front runner, it obviously tarnishes him and gives Mamdani a powerful talking point. I think that Mamdani's talking point on this is really overblown and unfair because I have no reason to believe that Cuomo and Trump, who have had a fraught, complicated relationship, are collaborating on this. But be that as it may, there's nothing wrong with clearing the field. And clearing the field is what we need. I mean, we have a race now that has 5 people in it, if you count Joseph Hernandez, who's the other independent in the race. And what really needs to happen, and I've been saying this since July, I'm not just saying it now, is it needs to be a one-on-one race.
And, of course, we thank Mr. Walden for his time and his perspective on this race that seems to be changing by the day. So we invite you to stay with us right here at ABC7. ABC7 NY has all the updates, and you can get caught up as this race continues to change, it seems like, by the hour. I'm Mike Marza. Have a great day.